This is Introduction to Hebrew, Lesson 8, Prepositions. This lesson is going to cover the information contained in pages 60 through 68 of the Basics of Biblical Hebrew Charts PDF file and pages 27 through 30 of the Charts of Biblical Hebrew workbook. You'll also want to watch Hebrew Vocab 4 video to continue building your Hebrew vocabulary. A preposition is a word that joins pronouns, nouns, or phrases to other words within a sentence. A prepositional phrase starts with a preposition, then the object of the preposition and other terms that describe the object. In the examples below, the preposition is underlined and the prepositional phrase appears in red text. In Hebrew, there are three types of prepositions. Independent prepositions stand alone in front of their object. Makef prepositions are joined to their object by a makef. Inseparable prepositions are joined directly onto their object. In the chart below, we see three Hebrew prepositional phrases that illustrate the three types of Hebrew prepositions. The first prepositional phrase is lifnei hamelech, which means before the king. In this prepositional phrase, lifnei is the preposition before. Hamelech is the Hebrew word for the king. This is an example of an independent preposition. The second prepositional phrase is el ha-hekal, to the temple. In this phrase, el is the Hebrew preposition that means to or toward. Ha-hekal is a Hebrew noun that means the temple. This is an example of a makef preposition. Notice the horizontal line that exists between el and ha-hekal, which is called a makef. The third phrase is be-sadeh, in a field. So here, the Hebrew preposition is be, the bait with the shiva. The object of the preposition is sadeh, a field. This is an example of an inseparable preposition because the preposition is joined directly onto the object. The following table lists some of the most common independent prepositions. The first we've already met is lifnei, which means before. The second is im, which means with, and then acharei, which means after or behind. The most common makef prepositions would be al, which means on or upon, el, which means to or toward, and finally ad, which means until or as far as. This table lists the most common inseparable prepositions. The first is le, which means to or for, be, which means in, at, or with, and finally ke, which means like or as. Inseparable prepositions are usually added with a vocal shiva. However, if the word that it is joined to begins with an hatef vowel, the preposition takes the full matching vowel. If the word begins with a vocal shiva, the preposition takes a hirik. This is illustrated in the chart below. The first Hebrew prepositional phrase is be-sadeh, in a field. Here we see the preposition is bait with the vocal shiva attached directly to the Hebrew object. The second prepositional phrase is ka-anashim, like men. Notice that the inseparable preposition ke has lost its vocal shiva and has taken a full pathak to match the hatef pathak of anashim. The third prepositional phrase is livrit, which is a combination of the Hebrew preposition le and the Hebrew noun berit. In this particular case, le has a vocal shiva and berit had a vocal shiva. And since two vocal shivas cannot occur together, the first vocal shiva has dropped out and reduced to a hirik, and the bait has reduced to a vait to give us livrit, for a covenant. When an inseparable preposition is added to a word with a definite article, the preposition and vowel combine while the shiva and he drop out. In the example below, we see the Hebrew noun ha-sadeh, the field, joined with be to form ba-sadeh. Notice that the hey and the vocal shiva have dropped out, and the beit and the pathak have combined. In the second example, ha-melech, the king, is joined with k to form ka-melech. Again, the vocal shiva has dropped out along with the hey, the kaf has combined with the pathak to form ka-melech. In the final example, ha-esh, the fire, is joined with be to form ba-esh. The preposition min, which means from, can appear as a makef preposition or an inseparable preposition. As an inseparable preposition, the nun will often drop out, and the first consonant of the object will receive a dagesh forte, if that consonant is not a guttural letter. In the first example, we see melech, a king, combined with min to form min melech, a makef preposition, which means from a king. In the second example, melech is joined with min as an inseparable preposition to form mimelech, from a king. Here, the nun has dropped out, and the mem in melech has added a dagesh forte, a doubling dagesh. Notice that the inseparable preposition and the separable preposition are translated exactly the same, from a king, but they are written differently. In the third example, ha-melech is the king, joined with min to form me ha-melech. In this particular case, the hey is a guttural letter and cannot take a dagesh forte. Instead, the hirik underneath the mem has lengthened to a sere. Hebrew prose uses the terms ate and et as a definite direct object marker. In this particular role, the terms have no semantic meaning and are not translated. In the two sentences below, we see an example of each kind. The first sentence is, Bara Elohim ate hashamayim. Bara is the Hebrew verb created. Elohim is the subject of the sentence, and it means God. Hashamayim is the heavens. And ate functions purely as a definite direct object marker pointing to ha-shamayim. In the second sentence, we see Natan hanavi et ha-sefer lamelech. The prophet gave the book to the king. Natan is the verb gave. Hanavi is the subject of the sentence, the prophet. Ha-sefer is the definite direct object, and lamelech means to the king. In this sentence, et serves purely as a definite direct object marker and is not translated.